Welcome to The Strategic Edge, the podcast for entrepreneurs and business owners who want a competitive edge in the market. They want to be seen as the expert in their industry, and they're looking for cutting edge and innovative strategies that work across industries to help them scale their business like a boss. My name is Ann Carden, and I'm your host. Welcome to the show. Hey everyone, it's Ann Carden, and I want to welcome you back to another episode of The Strategic Edge. And today I have a brilliant guest with me, and I mean she really is brilliant. You'll find that out. And her name is Jacqueline Gold, and she is the founder and CEO of JG Education. And Jacqui offers premium concierge services to provide students with self-belief and motivation to achieve success. And one of the things that I love about what she's doing is they're really not just helping the student get better grades, but they're actually treating they're helping the whole person. Is that right, Jacqui?
That's absolutely right. Thank you, by the way, for having me on today.
Yes, and thank you for being here. Welcome. Welcome.
It's 8 p.m. in the UK right now. And it's
yes, she is in the UK. Yeah.
But we focus on the whole student rather than, it's not just an exams process. It's recognizing that they've got to go on and live a whole life with what we help them achieve. Mm-hmm. So we look at them each uniquely and build a model for them of their education based on their individual needs.
I love that. So do you do tutoring along with sort of the life skills or the soft skills and things that you do too? Is tutoring a piece of it?
Right. That's a great question, actually, because I think it depends on what you consider tutoring. There's various levels. They're not all. Mm-hmm. I like to make it very clear in the beginning, I am not a homework person, okay. Right? So if you're looking for somebody to do your child's homework with them, then I'm not the one.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. What I'm there for is to give them the support that they need to be able to access the learning that they're carrying out in school, at home, or wherever they're being educated. Okay, so yes, it is a level of tutoring, but at the same time, myself and my tutors follow exactly the same subject specification as everywhere else.
I love it. I actually have a client who is a tutor. She's a tutor, and she does a lot of the life coaching, and she ends up even kind of coaching the families along, with her students, and that's one of the things that's really helped her be very successful. So it sounds very similar, although she is actually doing the tutoring piece with them. So I love this, and you're talking about kind of creating this custom program for the student to really, it sounds like, just really meet them where they are and fill in those gaps and identify what their needs are.
Absolutely. And the whole idea arose from my own educational experience, in which I was one of those students that could pretty much learn wherever I was. Mm-hmm. But was I hitting my top grades? Not necessarily, because I had a lot of other matters happening at home. I had a very chaotic childhood. And so the teachers, one particular teacher, I should say, she met me on the way out of school one day when I decided enough was enough. And she started to listen to me. And she started to recognize what was happening at home and the difficulties that this was posing, and understanding the reasons why I wasn't hitting where I should hit academically. And she helped me deal with it and helped me rise and, form a life that I could deal with. Mm-hmm. And this is, a lot of people say I should take credit for my academic abilities for myself, but I think without her, I wouldn't have my 4 degrees today. I wouldn't have the
4 degrees. I told you she was brilliant.
I got addicted at one point, to the point that I forgot to have my second child until there was a 14-year gap in between.
Oh. Oh my, those things happen. No, that's a great story. I mean, so inspirational too, that, you know, how you, first of all, kudos to the teacher that took the time to do that, because so often that is not the case. And kids fall through the cracks, and kids get lost, you know, in the whole education system. And, you know, I remember, you know, thinking back to school, I loved the social aspect of school. I didn't like the actual educational part. I'm just going to throw that out there. I didn't enjoy learning and doing all of that until I was actually out of school working towards my careers. And then the things that I was interested in, you know, business and management and all of those things. And then I just, you know, became a student. On fire for learning, but it's because I was interested in it. But I think back to all of those years, I wasn't taught how to study, and I wasn't taught a lot of those skills that now kids do have available to them to really help them be successful in learning and to love school. Absolutely. And to get the most out of it and reach their full potential. But I didn't have that. So I think that's one of the things that really intrigued me about, you know, having you on and talking to you, because I love how sort of this movement is rising up that we're seeing, you know, to help kids get more from what's going on.
Well, I believe it's an essential movement.
It is.
It's one in which I know back in my school years, which were about 100 years ago now. Also,
see what she did.
Back in
younger than I am, so hey.
It was the case that you could get forgotten, okay, and you just did what you went to school,
right? Because you had to.
You know, and you went home afterwards, and you knew that afterwards you were going to get a job. Mm-hmm. Or around my time at 18, it was a case of people were starting to go to university. Mm-hmm. And because my parents were immigrants from Jamaica to the UK.
Okay.
So there wasn't many immigrant kids going to university. You know, it was like seen as, you know, up to this day, my students say to me, "Oh, you were born with a silver spoon in your mouth," and I say, "No, I wasn't." Absolutely not. Right. But I still went off to university in a better place than I could have been, mm-hmm. but still not knowing myself what I was doing and why I was doing. Mm-hmm. And it stayed that way until very recently. But having taught now in the classroom for, you know, that 16 years, mm-hmm. or probably a little bit more actually, right, for those 16 years, I come across kids often who are just on the point of giving up, mm-hmm. because they don't understand why they need to be there.
Right.
You know, and I always say to them, I think that's really sad that all these years after I was sitting in your place, you're still having the same problem that I'm having.
Isn't that something? Yeah, education. The education system has not evolved. It has not kept up with the times. I don't believe it has. I think it's very backwards.
It's very much sitting in the same place, not yes. moving on, not allowing where people try and make changes. I don't know if it's different in the US, but it's very difficult to introduce a change into the system.
Oh no, it's the same here.
I've had a young girl in my class. I'll never forget her actually, who was having so many difficulties at home that she was seeking love in all the wrong places, if you understand what I mean by that. Sure. She was going into the park after school with boys and excuse me, I reported it, and I was, you know, expecting somebody to ride to her rescue, mm-hmm. like Miss Carden had done for me. Mm-hmm. But I got told, well, you can't take her home, Jacqui, mm-hmm. you know.
Right.
And when you hear those things over and over through different schools, you it's disheartening. It made me think I need to build something for kids like this.
Yes. No, I love that, because you're absolutely right that if you can't, even the teachers that have the best intentions and they have this heart to want to make a bigger difference, but then they're stifled. They get into the school system, into the education system, and they're just not allowed. There's so many restrictions and so many walls and, that are put up and barriers that are put up that they end up just sort of squeezing them into this little box to just conform and be like everyone else. Do you agree with that?
I agree. I've experienced it so many times over and over, because I can't be in the school system, a teacher in the school system, because I care far too much.
Right. Right.
I can't bear to see a young person suffering and say nothing. And it comes to you in different forms. You have those that act out in class. But I've learned, people say I have extremely good behaviour management. And that's probably true, because I don't put up with silliness. You can come and talk to me, but don't. And you see those who are very quiet in class. You see those that come to me and say, Miss, they'd come and say, Miss, can I come and sit in your classroom? Yeah, of course you can. And I'd say, what do you want to do? Do you want to talk? Do you want to go on the computer? They say, no, I just want to sit. And, it's a long game, but the problem comes out in the end. What they want, and a lot of children really, really want, it's an alarming amount of children just want to be heard, just want to know that somebody cares. The pandemic has helped in this, helped me a lot, actually.
Interesting. These are, go
sorry?
ahead. No, go ahead.
I was going to say, because this, you've got to go to school.
Right.
Suddenly it was possibly, maybe, right? So people have had to start addressing the mental health issues that these kids have, because you can no longer say to them, you have to go to school.
Right. That's interesting. Yes. It's like the parents are actually they're having to face the situation that the teachers have to face.
Absolutely.
All the time. But, I love your heart, Jacqui. And I've been watching you for a while in your business. And that is so apparent if you ever watch anything that she's doing, any Facebook Lives, anything that she's putting out there. Her heart, her genuine spirit, her attitude shines through. And that was actually one of the things that kind of made me sort of be attracted to watch what she was doing and to see all of the great things. So I love that. Let's take a little bit of a different turn with this, and let's talk about this from a business aspect. Okay. One of the things I love is that you said, I can't be in the school system. And so you sort of kind of carved out a place for yourself in the market to close that gap and fill in the gap that you did not feel was being supported or implemented into the education system. And so you created your own business, a true entrepreneur, true spirit here.
It's people who know me, my brothers and sisters say this all the time, always say that I can't be told what to do.
My husband says that to me all the time too.
And it's probably true. Once I've set my heart on something, that's exactly what I'm going to do. My first career, I qualified as an accountant.
Really?
My personality is in no way matches.
I was going to say, you're an awfully bright, shining star.
And I got told many times, because I worked as an accountant for 17 years. And over that time, many people said, you're not a natural accountant. And I was like, thank you so much. I don't think I am either. And overnight, I literally retrained, signed up and retrained as a teacher. And it was literally the same process when it got to the point that I can't be in the classroom. So it's never going to be the right time. Cut.
You just shared a gold strategy there. It's never going to be the right time. How many people do we see are so afraid to launch, are so afraid to take that leap, are so afraid to do something that isn't mainstream or in the norm? Go get an education, then go get a job. This is the path you take, right? But you stepped out and you did something really different, and it's going really well for you.
It is going well. It's one of my better decisions. So somebody asked me, I think it was last week actually, what's your best decision you made while teaching in schools? And I said, to stop teaching.
Stop.
Because I found it too restrictive, because I recognized that it's about more than just learning. It's about more than just teaching. And now having the business and taking on tutors, it's about more than just running a business. It's about developing people and showing others that, you know what, it's never the right time. My tutors are always, talk to nearly every lesson, and I encourage them to actually think about what they would like to do long term. As much as I love them and I think they're brilliant, and I'd love to keep them, I wouldn't be a leader if I did that. I have to give them the option to really develop their life to the maximum possible.
I love that. So, Jackie, let's talk about the structure of your business just a little bit, because I know that a lot more people are trying to figure out, okay, what is my next step? And especially with a lot of schools shut down and teachers having to teach virtually anyway, with the whole pandemic, I think a lot of them are really rethinking their career path. And do I want to maybe go out and do something on my own? And tutoring is a great step for that. However, just being a tutor you're going to max out. You're going to max out on the amount of income you can make unless you structure things in the right way, which most of them won't know how to do that, right? They'll know how to go get some tutoring clients or tutoring students, but they won't know how to build a business. And that's the difference. I would like to talk about the structure of your business. So do you do any tutoring yourself still, or are you mostly the CEO of your company?
I'm largely the CEO. I have a small list. Okay. And those are usually legacy students, because when students come to me, they seem to stick around for a few years. Right. So the ones that I've always taught, I've kept. The others that have been coming in, I pass on to my tutors that I've taken on, and I employ those tutors so that they don't have to worry about being self-employed. They do have a salary every month. They do have all the perks of employment.
Oh, okay. And so how do you get your students? Do you have a location where the tutors are? Or do they go into homes, or how do you have that structured?
At the moment, we don't have a location, and that's purely pandemic driven. Right. But without the pandemic, we had a location in which each tutor had their own room, and they would teach their list of students. We tend not to mix tutors and students, because it's important that tutor-student relationship is important to our process. It's a lot built on trust. So we don't expect the students to have to get to know other tutors as they go along, unless we have a social, in which case.
Okay. And how many tutors do you have that work for you?
I have 4 at the moment.
4. Nice. And do you stay full most of the time, or how do you get students? Do people just know about you because you've been around for a long time? How do people know about your services?
Right. I'm always on Facebook and doing things around there. So I tend to get a lot of referrals off Facebook. But I also get a lot of word of mouth referrals. Okay. So when people come to me and say, I was speaking to my friend and she said that her friend had, and I tend to get them that way quite a lot, which is not a big change from before I went online. Before I met Manny, I used to be completely word of mouth.
Mm-hmm.
And things were slow.
Mm-hmm.
But I found now I've gone online, things aren't as slow, even though the word of mouth has not slowed.
Mm-hmm.
Because people get to go online, see what we do,
Mm-hmm.
and make a decision based on what they see.
Yes.
You know, it's been quite important to show up. So,
Yes.
you know, on all the seniors, on all the social media platforms.
Well, the opportunity is there. And, you know, I actually just did a Facebook Live today talking about this, because how many people are the best kept secret, right? And they have all of this brilliance that they could be sharing with the world. And for some reason, they kind of sit there and think people will just find out about them. Or they're so afraid to put themselves out there and let people see what they do. And we've never had a better opportunity to market our business, and really to do it for free if you want to. All you have to do is put in the time. Not that time is free, but the platforms are free. And all you have to do is show up and show your excellence and your brilliance.
Absolutely. It's a funny one, because it's interesting how many people say, I've got a business, but I don't want so-and-so to know about it. You know, I don't.
I run into those sometimes too.
And you think, well, have you got a business?
Right.
Or are you trading time for money, and you've actually got no time to do anything else because you don't want Fred to know that you've got a business, or Sharon, or whoever.
Right, right.
You know, my daughter recently started her own business, and I had to talk to her through it, because she would do lots of videos of just her product. And I said, sweet, you need to show your face.
Right.
People need to know
Right.
who you are. And she said, but my Instagram's on private. Why?
Right.
You know,
Take advantage of those tools. You know, it's funny we're talking about this, Jackie, because when I started my first business 29 years ago, I'm sure you probably have heard my story or seen it somewhere. I had to do advertising the old-fashioned way. Like, I had to run ads in magazines, and, you know, there wasn't put something out there and tweak it and make it work and keep getting it to work better. Or, you know, you didn't have all this free opportunity to advertise. No, you had to pay for every single piece of advertising and marketing that you did. And I can remember I would run ads in the magazine, and that, you know, that would come out in a month, and I would, and you would have to already be paying for the next month issue before that one even came out. So if that one didn't work, you were kind of out of luck for 2 months, thousands of dollars, you know. And then it was just, you couldn't test things, and for people to, I know people don't even understand what I'm talking about because they have social media, but it's such a game changer. And I look at the opportunity and I think, oh my gosh, I work with a lot of business owners who, you know, don't even have social media profiles, and they don't even have social media pages. And they're like, no, you know, we don't need that. Oh my gosh, why would you not want that? Right? It just doesn't make sense.
You have to, at some point in your journey, make a decision. Okay. And you have to pick a side. Are you backing working forever for someone else, or are you backing yourself? You know, do you believe in yourself? I had the last person who I worked for, the last school, I remember the headmistress trolled my Facebook page, and I had advertised that I was going to appear at the Women in Business convention. And she called me into her office and she said, look at that, you know. You know, she said, you're supposed to be a teacher. Why are you speaking at a Women in Business conference? Because that's what I do. You know, that's what I enjoy, and I have a whole life to live. So I'm not doing it in school time. It's on a Saturday, you know.
Right. Wow.
And from there, I knew I have to resign because I have to back myself fully.
Yes.
I can't be made to feel guilty about doing what my passion is.
Yeah. So what you're basically saying, Jackie, is the same thing I've been saying for 29 years. I am unemployable. You are too.
100%. You know,
Right.
I've said it so many times that I can't be managed. You know,
We cannot be reined in. No.
no. You've just got to leave me to it.
No, that's great. And I do think that's true. You know, I think you have your employees that they're so comfortable in that. You know, I talk about this with my husband. He's always had a job with a paycheck. I've always been the entrepreneur. I've always been the one that, you know, things were up and down and all of that. And it's so interesting to even just the mindset differences that we have about money and about investing and just things like that, because he's so used to having that, you know, that same paycheck, you know, unless they gave him a raise, right? Having that same paycheck all the time. But when you're an entrepreneur, when you're a business owner, I tell people all the time, you can build your wealth. And even if you don't need all that money, you can give back in such a bigger way. Like if you have the opportunity, you know, there's so much abundance. If you have the opportunity to build your wealth from your business or build your business to sell, you know, I've sold 5 businesses that I built. Why would you not want to do that? Like it's crazy to me, but yet a lot of people don't think like that.
I get the need for security. Okay. Don't get me wrong. I get it, but I don't want it. Because that security is a double-edged sword.
Yes, it is.
And if we wheel ourselves back a few months to March 2020.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
That double-edged sword suddenly flexed.
It's not security, though. It's not. It. You may think it is.
Yeah. It's a mindset.
Yes, it's a mindset. You may think it is. But I have watched what has gone on in 2020, and there's been no security for people. And even the people who have been able to still be employed, it's like, okay, is the shoe going to fall? You know, is the shoe going to drop tomorrow? Am I going to be out of a job tomorrow? And so there has not been any security. And the thing is, we could say, well, it's a pandemic. This is not. It's always like this. There's never security. If a company loses a huge account that, you know, is 80% of their business, they cut people. People are gone, right? If something doesn't go right or something is a train wreck in a company and they lose, you know, a ton of money, people are gone. I mean, people are, you know, they're expendable. And so there is no security to it. It's just in people's minds that they think they have the security. Yeah. So that's my soapbox rant for today.
A necessary one, and a definitely necessary one, because it actually resonates a lot with young people who don't see a future for themselves tomorrow.
Yes,
right.
That's true.
Because they have such fertile minds, right? It's hard to find one that is just happy to sit behind a desk. Okay.
Right.
They want to do so much, they can't see the way forward. The pandemic has shown everybody you have to make your own route.
Yes.
You know, you have to actually pick a side, unless you want this up and down sort of whirlwind through your life.
Well, even the smart ones that are in, let's just say, a corporate job or in, you know, in some sort of job, if they're smart, they plan for things like that. They have investments. They, you know, they do other things. They create new income streams or other income streams or revenue streams where everything is not dependent on that. Yeah. So should something happen. So that's if people are planning and if they're thinking that way, but that's not always the case. But oh my gosh, we could probably talk about this forever, right?
Absolutely.
So Jackie, what's been the hardest thing for you in business?
I think it's actually realizing that the shift online is quite difficult.
It is hard to come online. Yes. Yeah. I had to do the same thing. Right.
And realizing that I had quite a lot to learn.
Mm-hmm.
So there
And
were,
it never stops, does it?
no. So you see when you make a mistake and you sort of feel like,
Yeah.
and you've got to start something all over again, because I'm very much I've got to do that. Okay, let me just do it.
Right.
Let me get on with it. Let me, I don't sit on things for a long time, but I'm not good at saying, I need some help. Let me go, let me get help, and then I'll do it.
But you're better about that now, I'll bet, because I hired a coach several years ago when I decided I didn't want to be in people's businesses anymore. I wanted to have a mobile business. I wanted to travel. I wanted to be able to work from anywhere. And so I restructured my entire coaching and consulting business to accommodate my lifestyle and what I wanted to do. And I had to learn how to get online. And so I had to hire someone to teach me all of those moving parts, because I had no idea how to do that. And I'm still, every platform's different. Things keep changing. Facebook changes, now we're learning their new platform. I mean, it's just never ending with online marketing, but it's such a necessary thing. If you're not doing it, you almost can't survive, I don't believe, in the marketplace today.
No, you're absolutely right. I had to learn that I had to have a coach. I have to have a coach, and I don't shy away from help anymore, because I think that I've learned to manage my time so that I don't, that it doesn't need me to always be doing. Sometimes I need to listen before doing.
No, I love it. I always say too, I found out a long time ago, as I get older, I've really realized this, and I've really embraced this, and you don't get more minutes. So quit wasting time, right? I always say you can make another dollar, but you can't make another minute. And that, I think that came from Alan Weiss, who wrote, I don't know, the $1 Million Consultant or whatever, but such a great, profound statement, because that's really the truth of it. So if you're trying to figure everything out yourself, and even in business, hire people or get people to do a lot of those things. It's just not worth your time. Go have fun.
Absolutely. I think that is the biggest piece of advice I would give anybody.
No, that's great.
Get help.
Don't
great. Sit there and cry into your beer.
Well, Jacqui, it has been such a pleasure having you on. I love what you're doing. I think it's phenomenal. I love, I really do love the movement that I'm seeing kind of, more and more people kind of rise up into this space. Like I told you, one of my clients does kind of the life coaching along with her tutoring business. And, she's very much like you. She'll keep her students for years. Like they'll start with her in the first grade and she still has them in college. And, it's really crazy, but it is because she's investing in more than just teaching them math or teaching them, how to do science. She's investing in those kids and they love her. And, she's built this incredible business and is super successful because she has, like you, she's filled in those gaps. And that's really the success secret in business, is look for the gaps. If you look for the gaps and you fill the gaps, you won't be out of business, right?
Well, this is why I've decided now via a coach, right, who said, actually, you've got such a consolidated business. Why don't you now consider selling parts of your business, because it helps us to help more people.
Yes.
And we're in a position where we can scale.
Now you're going to license some things?
Yes.
Oh, brilliant. I love it. Yes.
So we're going to license a product that will be released in around Easter time.
Nice.
Which will allow other people to come along, pick up the box and go and
So that's the business in the box you were kind of talking about.
Yeah.
Yes. No, I think that's great. So you have a good coach there. That is one of the things I'm doing with my client in the education space as well, is she's actually going to teach people now how to build a tutoring business, and we're going to license that program. And then she's also got some life coaching materials and things that she's put together that she's going to be able to also give people the rights to use and those kinds of things. So all those different layers to a business. So I love that you're doing that too. That's amazing.
No, it's the beauty of entrepreneurship, I think.
It is. It definitely is. There's so much opportunity. That's why I said it's endless. I know we could talk all day, right? So,
easily.
Well, thank you for being here. Anything that you want to leave our listeners with before we wrap it up?
Right. I gave you a code, I think, for a free download, which I'm happy for people to have. It just takes you through the whole examinations process, what we think about as examiners when we're taking your kids through it, and helping kids, heaven forbid I should call them children to their face, helping them understand the process that they go through when they take exams and how they can manage their time better. So that's a resource I'm happy to give you. Mm-hmm. I'm also happy to discuss any educational matters that you might need advice on with a free, no obligation whatsoever conversation, which you can get through my website, jgeducate.com.
And we will put all of that information with the podcast. So you'll be able to just go and get that code and also reach out to Jacqui. She's also on Facebook. And I think she is on LinkedIn as well. So I think you can find her either place, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Perfect. But go follow her because it's fun to watch her and she just shares great wisdom and has so much value to give to people. And we need people like Jacqui who are rising up and filling in the gaps. And I love it. And of course, from the business standpoint, I think you're brilliant that you found that opportunity and you really maximized it and you capitalized on it. And so you're teaching people in a lot of different ways. You're teaching them they don't have to conform. And
absolutely.
Yeah.
Let's just be rebels like animals.
I've been doing that for a lot of years. No, this has been great. So Jacqui, thanks for being here once again. It's been a pleasure. You're welcome. And until next time, everyone, I hope you enjoyed this episode of The Strategic Edge and make sure you reach out to Jacqui. And if you need any help in your business, building your brand, growing and scaling your profitability, your team, your business, then please reach out to me and let's have a conversation just like Jacqui, no obligation. But we can just take a look at your business and we can identify those gaps that are holding you back from bigger and better things. So thank you all. God bless you. Have an amazing day. Bye-bye.